Okay, Monday morning in the kingdom, and I survived yesterday. Oh, that free stuff was hurting me good. And then that good meal, that ribs. I was surprised the staff was able to buy ribs with actual meat on it here locally in Whoville. I don't know, must have been a shipping mistake. Yes, and that was good and tasty. All right, this morning we woke up to a warm minus 15 Celsius. Yes, but feels like minus 19. I forgot the Grinch gloves, but that's okay. All right, but it's chilly out here. We have the wood stoves going, and on the yo-yo scale, +5 Fahrenheit, but feels like -2. See, warm temperatures. All right, we'll back up here. I think winter's hanging on as long as it can, just like the ex-wife in the divorce. Yes, she wanted it all. Yes. Okay, we got some sunshine happening. It's over there. Let's scroll a bit more. Look at that. The days are getting longer. The sun is moving that way. Yes, it's going to be in the north pretty soon. And then we'll have almost 24 hours of daylight here. And then I'll be laying in bed with the sun shining in my eyes as I try to sleep at 1 o'clock in the morning. Oh my. The problems, the dramas we have living at the end of the world, living remote. All right, let's scroll quickly here. We have no idea what we're going to do today. We'll probably just wander around, aimlessly lost. Yes, the boss has come to accept that. That's all we do. All right, we got the wood stoves going. I just threw some kindling in and got it going because there was hot hammers in both of them. Oh, I got the burps. That peanut butter was so good this morning. All right, that's chilly out here. Well, we better get the me foam back in before it gets chilled, and then it censors me. Oh, my. All right, we got things to do today. We're not sure what we're going to do. Probably just wander around. Oh, well. All right, I better go. Here comes the boss.
Monday morning in Whoville, it's just after 8:30 a.m. and as you can see, the sun is shining, but it is pretty cloudy out here right now, and there's a bit of a wind. Now let's head inside and let the dogs out. Then I can make breakfast at 2 p.m. I'll go up and check the mail and head over to the kingdom. 12 p.m. and I'm just getting ready to make lunch. I'll be having my leftover rib plate from last night. Made sure to save myself a nice lunch for today. Now let's head inside and let the dogs out. Then I can make lunch. At 1 p.m. I'll do the weather. Almost 1 p.m. and I'm just finishing up lunch. This is the temperature we're sitting at right now. It's -3 degrees Celsius, which is 26 degrees Fahrenheit. We even have the feels like on the bottom. As you can see from my weather board, it is getting pretty windy out here. So let's head inside and let the dogs back in and wait for 2 p.m. so I can head up and do the 2 p.m. and I just got the skidoo out, and I'll head up and check the mail and go over to the kingdom and see what we're doing this afternoon. It is nice and warm out here, but that wind makes it kind of chilly. Just after 2 p.m. and I made it to the kingdom. There's nothing in the mail today. As you can hear in the background, my dad is splitting hydro poles, so I'll head down to the shop and start filling up tubs with firewood. Down at the shop, and my dad is splitting hydro poles. As you can see, it is still pretty cold out here, so they are splitting no problem. While he does that, I'll head over to the hose shack and fill up the tubs. Over at the hose shack, and I will be emptying out this tote here. Might end up taking this back in behind the house and filling it again at the long trailer, but I'll pick out all the good stuff and then flip it out and empty out the rocks. 2:30 and I just finished filling up all the tubs. I was able to empty out the tote no problem. Tomorrow when we get the mini out, I'll take the tub back down to the wood pile where it can sit because we're pretty much done with firewood. Spring should be here soon. Almost 3 p.m. and I'm officially done in the kingdom. My dad's going to cut up the last root ball we have. Hopefully we won't need any more. As you can see, you can't really use the sawzall because I'm standing here and that's all you'll hear in the video. Now I'll grab my dog treats and head on back into Whoville and do the weather at 4:30.
Okay, 3 o'clock coffee and I'm finished up. Yes, I worked hard. Yes, so it's windy out here. It's a cold wind, but the sun is warm. All right, so over here we struggled and we got it done. Yes, we got it done. Okay, this is a root ball of 3 or 4 different trees. So if it was a normal root ball, it would cut and break and no problem. But what I did was slice and dice and pound the wedgies in. And also too, using the Princess Auto pruning. Yes, the pruning sawzall blade, one of the gifted items to the kingdom here. I was able to cut, slice, and dice until this is small enough that it'll fit in the wood stove. So it's cold enough that the wood was splitting, and it's kind of dry enough. So that worked out very well. Very pleased. And as the snow melts, we'll be able to clean up this mess to give the yard curb appeal. Yes, curb appeal. We have to make it look good for in the videos that nobody seems to be watching. Oh well. Okay, we're in the shop out of the wind. It's nasty out there, just like the ex-wife. So I'm not a qualified mechanic or whatever. I'm a welder by trade. So my dad did all the quadrajet carburetor adjustments, everything like that back in the day. So I didn't know if I did the refresh kit correctly on the carburetor. So I came in here, grabbed this carburetor off of this 305. Yes, the 305. I grabbed it. You can see it's not bolted down or anything. Oh, give it a push. Oh, I did bolt it down. Oh, I must be losing it. All right, so we grabbed that carburetor, tossed it on, and it wouldn't idle because of the idle jet screws or whatever it is or whatever. So when you change the camshaft, you change the vacuum draw or whatever, yada, yada, yada. So you need a special kit for the carburetor to work. My dad knew all that, but I didn't because he forgot to tell me. So we knew that this carburetor would work on this motor to drive this truck around, but we knew it didn't work on the modified motor. All right, let's go to the hose shack where the lovely ladies are waiting for us. Okay, we're in the hose shack and we let the wood stove die out during the day because it gets so freaking hot in here. This thing is either hot or off. That's the only adjustment on it. It's totally against what everybody says. It's got a stubby little chimney and everything, but it works. All right, let's turn around here. All right, so there we go. So we were working on carburetors and we kind of got sidetracked. Well, we had to wait for the money tree to blossom. So there's one of the Rochester Quadrajets there, sitting there all apart. I don't dare touch it because I'll lose the pieces. And we have the other ones up through the window there. I don't know if we can see it. The other ones are up there. Okay. Oh, and there's the lovely lady smiling at us. Oh, it must be chilly in here for them. All right. So we make notes of everything. You have to take pictures of everything. So there's your numbers. That's how you order the carburetor. So we're dealing with Quadrajet Power. Okay. I don't know if we can see it right there. Okay, so we emailed them. We recommend them on the website or the YouTube channel and everything like that because the guy's knowledgeable. And like he states in his thing, a Quadrajet carburetor has to be built for the motor. You just don't take a carburetor off a motor and stick it on. We found it out taking the 46 carburetor and putting it on to 37. It didn't work because of the camshaft and everything. So then we sent him this email this morning, told him everything. And then we went to the website. He recommended the kits, and it's the kit there. So we put everything in the shopping cart. So it comes to $330.97, which is a lot cheaper going through his website with the shopping cart than it is to go through the eBay. Okay, so we got 3 carburetor kits in there, 2 for the hot rods, and then 1 for this 46 because I'm going to have it out and running this summer to haul water. So I figured I'd do that. He takes PayPal only. So we have to put money on the PayPal account and then let it, show up and then go through it. So it takes about a week to purchase, but that's the way we do it. And we also took all the pictures of the other carburetors. Okay, we did this all back in September in 2024. So you take pictures, mark everything, so we know the carb numbers. And then we don't have to go out and take pictures or write things down. It's all documented right here, so it's easier to do it. So that's the way we have to do paperwork, okay? You have to get organized, not like the workbench here. What a mess. But then again, we survived the winter. Yes, the winter. We made it through the winter, and it's still winter up here. All right, let's continue the quest. Okay, another thing we're doing is going through the parts list and checking everything. So some of these projects have been 2-3 years, almost 5 years now. But the main thing is most of these trucks or whatever were apart in the yard or in storage. So also too, we got to finish putting the rear end back under this truck here, the 46. And also too, it has 2-speed rear end. You can see that, Les Nesman. See that? That's the lever right there. There's no seal in there. I found the notes. I think at the time of the great lockdowns, we couldn't get that seal because it's a funny size or whatever. So we put 3 of these rear ends together because they're 2 speeds. We just put silicone on, or the gasket goo to, seal it up. So I've got it on my list. We're going to need some seals for that. And it has to be a special national seal because if you cross-reference over to a CR, they don't work. We have a bunch of that. So that's why we write everything down, and that's why we use these days where we're stuck in the house figuring things out to get organized. And then when we do a production or get out to the shop and work, it's easy. We work, and we don't worry about paperwork. We worry about it till next year, basically. All right, let's go check on what's going on outside. Okay, we're going to be a short video for today, so we'll have something from the past, but I came out here to do the video. And look at that, Les Nesman. Okay, the staff pointed out that the snow is not still on this tank. We couldn't figure out why. Now look at the gravitational pull and the flexibility of this ice. Isn't that pretty cool? Whoa, Cheech and Chong would be pretty impressed with this. Just look at that flex. Unfrickin' real. I am glad to say that I've witnessed this today. We're going to have a drink to celebrate. Yes, everybody have a drink to celebrate. The flexible ice. Whoa. Bill Nye, the science guy, would be pretty impressed. Okay, I think the staff got a little video of me dragging the neighbor's yard there and pulling the snow back. We pay town taxes and yet they don't plow the street or whatever like that. But oh well, welcome to Whoville. Taxed to death for nothing for services. Now that I complained and made a video about it, they'll probably plow the snow up and make a snowbank so I can't drive through. But oh well. Okay, I'm the King of Obsolete. I'm in Northern Canada, and I got 8 of these IH crawler cats, or whatever you want to call them. And I've done lots of steering clutches on them, getting them up and going so we can have fun. So I'm going to attempt a video here. I'm not sure if it's going to be a slideshow or a voiceover or what it's going to be. So let's see how it turns out. But it's how to change out the steering clutches without using a gold top credit card. Because nobody has any money now in the new world. But let's keep these old cats going. All right. Back in 2017, August 2017, we worked on 6 cats all together. So we had a little work bee, and the best way to work on these cats is you got to raise them up and with the blocks underneath, and make sure you have blocks at the front so you can jack the track forward, which rolls the steering clutches back. So you take the deck plate off to expose everything, but maybe cover the transmission if you have it exposed too. And we have cover plates made up. We paint everything in a color so we can see it and know it's a jig or a template or whatever. So that really helps with the project. And the key is you got to have the right tools to do the job. These are the tools we use to get the steering clutch arm out, and we use a lot of metric tools because these cats are 80 years old and the bolts are rounded out. You can just reach up between the track frame arm and the tub to get the steering clutch bolt out. So this is what it looks like when you get it all apart, and it just take the top band off, and then you got to install these steering clutch compression tools. So this is homemade or whatever. So this is compresses the steering clutch like in this picture, but it's done inside the tub. And then once you got it done, you can undo the bolts. Okay, so these bolts come out and then exposes the flanges. Okay, and then you just slide the flange back, or the flange or the coupler back. So there's 2 styles, the one with the flange and one with a 2-piece flange. And another thing that's in great importance is the chain you use to lift it out, because it has to be perfectly balanced as it's a tight fit in and out. Make sure you mark the steering clutch to the drive flange, because it only bolts on one way because of the grease nipple housing. So when you're finished, this is what the brake bands are at the bottom, and it's all nice and clean. So now on to part 2. Okay, now that you got your steering clutch out and it's nice and greasy, have it on a good table to work on because they are heavy. I have a table set up for both Caterpillar and IH cats. So when you compress the disc, the steering clutch down, okay, that's under a lot of pressure, so be careful. Take your time getting the bolts out and pay attention to the way it goes together, all right? And then once you get it apart, the first 6 discs and plates are the ones that are worn. The ones in the back of the steering clutch housing are not worn that much, okay? So you turn them over and clean them up and stack them back in, and then add plates and discs to get the factory measurement. And then when everything is all good to go, you can reassemble. The plate that keeps the differential oil into the housing, that is an expensive seal from the dealerships, and we've been replacing them out with national seals, okay? So 2 seals go in that place, and they work out pretty good. Pack lots of grease between the 2 seals, and you shouldn't have a problem. But they go in backwards to what they look like they're supposed to, and use lots of Loctite and gasket glue on the seals, or I mean on the flanges and stuff, and the bolts. And this is the inventory in the kingdom of the seals we're going to use. Okay, and another thing, being in the Northern Canada, we replace those steel grease lines for the steering clutch bearing. We test the grease hoses in the freezer to know they're going to flex. So one end has the brass ends on to go into the steering clutch bearing, and the other one gets a steel nipple on it so we can weld it to the deck plate, okay? So that's the best way to do it. And under the steering clutch lever arms, you stack O-rings to take up that felt seal to keep the water out of going down into the tub or the steering clutch housing, okay? And I added an extra picture here of us having fun because we did 6 cats in the summer of 2017. Hopefully this was helpful, and we'll talk to you later.
4:30, and this is the temperature we're sitting at right now. It's 0 degrees Celsius, which is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. We even have the feels like on the bottom. As you can see from my weatherboard, it is still pretty windy out here, which makes it chilly. So let's head inside, let the dogs out, get supper ready, and end my day.
Okay, trying to hide out of the wind, but I don't think that's going to work. So we'll quickly go this way because it is windy. The flags are enjoying themselves. All right, let's go walk the dogs, drink some beer, make a video, and we'll talk to you guys later.